WrestleBuddy Podcast. All about wrestling. Subscribe and follow for more content.
Welcome, WrestleBuddies, to our prediction show for the All Out pay-per-view. Joined by Chris, Jimmy, and Zane. How are we all doing, lads?
Good, I'm doing good. I'm excited
Doing fine.
for another great weekend of wrestling. So let's freaking do this.
Yeah. So we'll jump straight into it. I know everyone's excited for this. Do you think it's going to be a really good pay-per-view? Just before we do go through the match card, just what do you think it's going to be a good pay-per-view? Because all I've found with AEW so far is, I was talking to Alex the other day about this as well, is they seem to promote things really well, but the final kind of, the combination, as you want to call it, of the pay-per-view or whatever it is that they're promoting, like a return or whatever it may be, it doesn't seem to kind of take it to that next level. It just kind of plateaus off for me. What's your thoughts, Chris? Do you want to go first?
I think the show is kind of depending on one match, and I think we all know what that match is Punk and Darby, and it has a great buzz around it, but a lot, I'm looking at the card right now, a lot of these matches look very last minutely done or have been long feuds of rematches.
Yeah, I mean, one of my criticisms for AEW is that the mid-card, they just don't know at the moment. They're not booking the mid-card well. They're booking the upper echelons of the cards well, but the mid-card, they're kind of neglecting a little bit. What's your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
I'm with you on that. I've always thought that they've done a really good job of promoting the cards, and then the pay-per-views hit, and it's kind of just like flat. I think this time, I've said it before, I think the hype and the build for this pay-per-view hasn't been up to par with the rest of them. So that leaves me, I guess, a little bit more excited because the expectations isn't as high. So I'm able to watch it almost like a WWE show where the expectations are never really high because it's not built great. Yeah. There's been matches on this card that are built, and I'm excited for a few of them. But I do think that this might be the most enjoyable pay-per-view AEW's put out for me.
And do you feel like, with regards to comebacks, we've got a lot of people coming out of non-competes, and, there's a few people floating around there anyway that could probably come into AEW. What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that we need to some return? Do you feel like we need to see a Daniel Bryan or a Ruby Riott or someone along the card to kind of get that pop to make this a special pay-per-view, or do you think like the card's enough to be special?
I think the card. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying that I think that the card in and of itself has a lot of matches on it which is kind of a draw. And as Jimmy said, as you said, Andy, that some of these cards in the upper mid card are really well promoted, and I'm really excited for the pay-per-view. But even those little hints of Bryan Daniels and Daniel Bryan, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole possibly showing up, all these subtle hints add to it and make it all the more better. So why not? Because AEW is just capitalizing on those rumors, and they're selling the pay-per-view, and that's their job so far. They have
well, that's it. But do you not feel like if these little hints and subtle things that are coming out, and if it doesn't happen, it kind of makes it a bit disappointing?
Well, yeah, look at Impact. They Slammiversary was hyped. They gave all these hints of these people coming in, and all we got was No Way Jose and Jay White, who was unexpected, but we were expecting these former released superstars to come in, and we haven't gotten much.
And that's my worry, is the kind of it'll take the shine off because of that.
Yeah. But I think what kills them with the Daniel Bryan one is they were going off the rumors until Punk made his little remark on Dynamite when they did the yes moment, and he's like, "You're gonna have to wait a little longer." I feel like if Bryan doesn't show up tonight with all the hype, and then you have that comment sprinkled in there with it, you're gonna have some pretty disappointed people. And
and that's
I'm not saying it's
WWE
warranted, but
but that's something WWE do well. You know, if you look at that SummerSlam card, it was pretty underwhelming. I mean, I know there were some good matches on there, but it wasn't the big spectacular. And then you had the Becky Lynch and the Brock Lesnar, which was the two big talking points, and everyone was going on about them. And just the fact that, you know, if it doesn't happen here, do they get that momentum and build from what they want to?
yeah,
I feel like with WWE, it's like they already have this many, like a lot of people watching the pay-per-view, and they don't have to. They're not even pay-per-views at this point; they're network specials. So with AEW at this point, they have to sell the pay-per-view, and they're not at that point where just putting on a few matches would.
But if it doesn't deliver, do they sell future pay-per-views on the levels that they're probably going to get tonight? And that's where my worry as an executive of AEW would be.
I mean, the barbed wire exploding death match didn't really deliver to its expectations, and they still sold out. Double or Nothing, they did great numbers for Double or Nothing, and they're doing great numbers for All Out as expected.
Good. Okay, well, we'll jump straight into the card then, and we'll dissect this out and see what we think's going to happen. Okay, so buy-in, we've got Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Orange Cassidy versus Jurassic Express, Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. Not really going to go too far on this. I think obviously the baby faces go over there. Good feeling going into the pay-per-view. There's not really a story here, is there? It's just kind of let's get these faces on the show at some point. And to be fair, I've seen worse kick-off show matches, as we call them, or buy-ins, they're the same thing, but I've seen worse. Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a way to get Orange Cassidy over people like Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Orange Cassidy on the show, and I think it's always the faces are going to win. Though it's like they couldn't squeeze something in for like a rivalry for Jurassic Express and Orange Cassidy to have a real match on the card instead of maybe a Paul White and QT Marshall rivalry from happening. It's like,
well, Paul White's a face, isn't he? So we obviously we'll discuss that a bit more. But
I'll go deep into that. But I'm kind of like, and this whole Hardy feuding with someone and then using all his dudes to attack one person has been, I don't know, I'm kind of over it, to be honest. But it's going to be a good match because, you know, they're going to go all out and just wake up the crowd to get them ready for the rest of the night. So,
okay. Jimmy, your thoughts on it? As I say, I haven't really got much myself.
I think it's just going to be a big just mess of just people colliding and just like you guys said, it's just to get people on the card. I get it. It's not a terrible idea. I just hope it's not the cluster that I think it's going to be, because I would like to see this be like more fine-tuned and more individuals against individuals, as opposed to like, okay, everybody jump in and all hell breaks loose, because we see that too much on Dynamite.
And I think you might, in this pay-per-view, you might get them a little bit more structured on this one. I do believe that. What about you, Zane?
Yeah, I feel like there's no issue with getting Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy on the card, because they already want the crowd to sing along to Tarzan Boy and Where's My Mind by the Pixies. So yeah, no harm in that.
Yeah, and as I say, it's a good way to start off the pay-per-view, but I'm going to go on this one. Chuck Taylor, Yuta, Cassidy, and the Express. Jimmy?
I'm going with the Matt Hardy brand. I think he deserves a win. He's been put through a lot.
Okay, Chris?
I'll go with Best Friends and Jurassic Express.
And yourself, Zane?
Yeah, I'm going with the baby faces as well.
Okay. Right, so we'll go over the Battle Royal very, very quickly. You know, it's one of these. It's Casino Battle Royal. We know what happens on these ones. They get the cash into the future title shot. We got Rio, Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan, Jade Cargill, Abandon, Kill King, Layla Hirsch, Nyla Rose, Big Swole, The Bunny, Red Velvet, Thunder Rosa, Tay Conte, Penelope Ford, Dynamite, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Emi Sakura, Akihiro Shihida, Sky Blue, and obviously TBA, which in my eyes is going to be Ruby Riott. What do we think happens here, Chris?
I'm looking at all these women. I'm just like, wow, look at all these women that like get a match on Dynamite and disappear on Dark over and over. And I know, like, oh, but you could watch Dark. It's like, I don't know. They don't make me feel, Dark doesn't feel important to me because it's like, I'm not watching 20 something matches.
Yeah. But how do you think this one's going to go?
There's a lot of interesting women I would love to watch. See, like Jade, Kiera, who I feel like deserves to be pushed to the moon after leaving Impact. She's such a hot free agent right now. Someone needs to take advantage of her and put her in a main event spot. But then we got Thunder Rosa too, who I think has that huge win over Britt Baker.
Does she see Ruby coming in here?
Ruby, I see Ruby coming in, getting the big pop, but winning it, I don't know, because I think the story with Thunder Rosa is there, and they're not doing anything with it. She got signed. She won that huge match against Britt Baker, the lights out match, but Britt's the one being champion, so shouldn't there's a story there, and I think they need to build on it. Brilliant. So I got Thunder Rosa.
Jimmy, what do you think on this one?
I think we do see Ruby. I think we also see CJ Perry. Just because I think there was three unknowns. At
the moment, I think there's only one.
Yeah.
But
okay,
I may be wrong on that one, to be honest.
Someone got taken out.
Julia
Hart.
Julia Hart.
Oh, Julia Hart. Yeah.
Blue
okay.
Sky.
So there might be two.
Okay. If there's one, it's one of those two. I think the CJ Perry thing is happening sooner or later. I'm going Thunder Rosa just because I don't see who else makes sense, because it seems like Anna Jay and Tay Conti now have their hands full with the Bunny and Penelope. So I feel like there's a thing there that's going to take a little time. So yeah, Thunder Rosa.
Okay. Zane, you?
Yeah, I feel like we're all agreeing on this one. I also think that Thunder Rosa is going to win this one, and Soho's going to be the Joker for this one. But I really want to see Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker reinvigorate that feud, because the lights out match was arguably the best thing they've done in the women's division. So yeah, I would really love seeing Rosa and Britt Baker get it on again.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go a bit different here. I don't see CJ Perry coming into this. I think CJ Perry comes in a kind of interview backstage role, because I feel like AEW need more of that. And after hearing her on Chris Jericho and the way she was talking and coming across, she kind of made me change my mind and thought, you know what, she could do that role. And it'd be a good role for her, because let's face it, I feel like AEW at the moment needs good performers in ring, and she's not one of them. So I don't know. That's my thoughts anyway. I'm going to go for a bit of a wild card on this one. I'm going to say Jade Cargill.
Yes,
I like her. I think she.
I wouldn't be angry about that.
No, was she squashed Kiera Hogan, didn't she, last week?
Yeah, on Rampage.
Yeah. So I could see her being something a bit different for Britt, and she looks good, and she's got a good, good in ring. So yeah, I could see that, but I'm just going to go with that. So I'm going Jade Cargill. Zane?
Thunder Rosa.
Chris?
Thunder Rosa, but wouldn't be mad for Jade. Love her.
Jimmy?
And Thunder.
Okay, no. Right, so we're going to go on to the rest of the card now. Sorry, main card I was going to say, but correct myself there. Women's Casino Battle Royal is on the main card. So we go on to the next match, MJF versus Chris Jericho. If Chris loses, he can never wrestle in AEW again. Yeah, we know that's going to happen here. Obviously, I don't know on this one. For me personally, I think if I was booking AEW, this is where I would bring Brian in, and I would have Brian cost MJF to let Jericho slide out and go and do his fuzzy thing, because I feel like if Jericho can't rest, unless we don't know something that's going on behind the scenes, I feel like that's too final. Even if he's going away from Fozzy for a while, it's going to be hard to write him back in again. Where if Brian costs MJF the match, it sets up a great feud between them two, which I think would be really, really good, and gets Jericho out the way to go and do his thing with Fozzy. Let's go to you first, Shane. What do you think on that?
Yeah, before you introduce that Brian Danielson theory, I was pretty split on this one, because like on a quite rare occasion, AEW has booked itself into a corner here, because if Jericho wins, then he's off to the tour, and you've given MJF, one of the most protected guys on the roster, a loss, and Jericho's off to tour with Fozzy. So I don't see a point in Jericho winning over MJF. And if MJF beats Jericho, then you're letting go of a generational talent, one who's been carrying AEW for a long time. So here, I was gonna say MJF would be the logical decision, but once you mentioned Daniel Bryan coming in, then I could see that way of, because that way MJF stays protected, because Jericho won't be pinning him clean. So yeah, but I'm still gonna go for MJF. I'm gonna stick to my original thing.
Okay.
Theory.
Yeah, because I just think that with Bryan, he's got to come in somewhere, and I don't see him coming into the title pitch yet. I feel like AEW need to keep Punk and Bryan away from each other, because we don't want to see that straight away. It's something that we need to build towards. Same with the one thing with AEW is doing records. We can't just have either of them coming in and feuding with the champion, because otherwise it makes a mockery of your record system. So that's where, looking at the whole card and just looking at AEW as a whole, I just feel like MJF and Bryan's a ready-made feud. What do you think on that, Jimmy?
I agree with Zane. I think they've booked themselves into a corner because, as you said, if Jericho loses and it's because he's going on tour, when he comes back, Cody said stipulations matter, so you can't go back on it. In my opinion, you just can't go back on it, because then all of a sudden you make us start to not believe, like, oh, okay, well, you said this, but how true is it going to be? So if Jericho loses, then like I just don't see him not wrestling for them anymore, and I don't want to see him on commentary. So, and then if MJF wins, then really what was the point? Like, what was the point of having this fourth match? It doesn't make sense. And then if Jericho does win, it makes everything else before this pointless, because you tried to build MJF up to another level with this feud, and I feel like if anything, it's brought him back down some. And
I mean, I think this whole feud's should have been switched around.
Yeah,
I think it's been a good feud, but it's being done backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just not invested in it as I should be. And if MJF takes the loss, then as opposed, like I just said, he's already come back down some a little bit because of this feud. The loss, I think, just pushes him way too far down.
See, I just think if you do lose, you can lose in a way that you're protected. And as I say, someone like Bryan or somebody else coming in could protect MJF, and then if he goes into a feud with Daniel Bryan and does well out of that, because we all know Bryan's not he's not a win guy. He's not all about that. He's about the storyline and stuff like that. So, if he goes through a feud with MJF and then MJF comes out victorious on the back end of that, it propels MJF to the next level towards the title, doesn't it? And then Bryan can go on and maybe have a feud with Punk then, because as I say, I just feel like we need to build to them matches rather than have them, and we don't need them too near the title scene just yet. Maybe in a year or two, but not quite yet. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I was looking back and thinking like, oh, if Bryan does show up tonight, where would I want him on the card? And I was thinking, were the world titles too obvious and like too soon? Punk, it's like, let's build on that. It's too obvious of a feud right away. And I was thinking MJF, that's a perfect spot, because I want to see Bryan face different guys. Let's not rehash old WWE rivalries. It's not like, and then build him to the new, like to the Omega or the other guys like that he hasn't wrestled in years. So I think MJF is a good spot. And the only thing I'm worried about is what's up with the Pinnacle and Inner Circle. I feel like they've been pushed aside since the end of what was the big match they had? The Stadium. Yeah, I feel like they've been pushed aside a lot and like been forgotten about once these the Jericho.
I think with the 5 labors though, they haven't been needed, have they? I think that's probably why they've pushed them to the side, really.
But here's the thing. Here's how I think this. Like, what was the point of Inner Circle winning at Stadium Stampede? You should have broken the Inner Circle, because if you go from Double or Nothing to here, they're still not working together. Sammy's doing his own thing, and Jericho's doing his own thing. Yeah, so I don't.
What's up with Sammy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
he got that big win, and then oh, he's teaming up with Fuego del Sol on Dark now, like just because it's his buddy. Like it's like let's build him up for the next to face Miro. That
Yeah.
I think that should have been the next
Well,
logical.
unfortunately, you can't have everyone on the card, so I'm sure we'll see these on the next couple of cards.
But you
or
at least still
whatnot,
have
so.
Paul White on the card.
Yes, but
that's
don't
gonna,
forget,
that's going to be the argument. That's going to be the argument for literally everybody.
But my argument on that is that casual fans know who Paul White is, so a Paul White on this card is not a bad thing, because if you come to see CM Punk, then you see Paul White, then you see Chris Jericho, like, oh, I know these guys. If you're a viewer that hasn't really watched a lot of AEW and is just getting into it, and you look at this card and you start seeing, oh, Chris Jericho wrestles here. Oh, so does Paul White. Oh, Miro, that used to be Yusef. Oh, do you know what I mean? It becomes a bit different then. So, I don't know. But we'll get into Paul White anyway. So, MJF versus Chris Jericho. Zane?
MJF.
Jimmy?
I'm gonna go Jericho because I just don't see him leaving. I just don't.
Yeah. Chris?
I go MJF, and I feel like eventually there's going to be a loophole to get Jericho to wrestle.
Yeah, I think Jericho wins, but MJF gets protected somehow by a dodgy finish or something along the line.
Maybe a Wardlow turn.
Yeah, or just a lot of different ways you could do it. Okay, we'll move on to another match. Moxley versus Satoshi Kazama. Not my favourite of matches on the card. I know Moxley, just on a side note, won the GWC title last night, the GCW title. Again, and then he's obviously had a standoff against Matt Cardona, and then he had a standoff with Nick Gage afterwards. And John Moxley said, "You know where to find me." Don't think that feud's going to take place on Dynamite or anything like that, but we could see a bit of a crossover on this match. Yeah, could you see Nick Gage costing Moxley this match?
He's in town. GCW's having a bunch of Chicago shows right now, so maybe. But,
Jimmy?
I guess it's a possibility. Because I'm not invested in this match at all. So to get me talking about it, I think having Moxley lose and having Nick Gage be responsible for that, I think that would be actually beneficial for him, and it would help GCW out too. So I think I like that idea actually.
All right. Okay. So on this one, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one. Chris, any thoughts on this match very quickly before we move on?
Yeah, it was very last minute. I thought they were setting up him and Tanahashi, which would have been awesome to see. And this would have made this pay-per-view even better. Nothing against Kojima. I watched him a lot on Impact as of late, and this is going to be a cool match. Just a quick, hard-hitting match, and I see Moxley winning this, but I just don't see where does he go after this. To facing more Japanese legends on AEW. That's I don't get it.
Yeah. Zane, any thoughts from you?
It feels like kind of a letdown after teasing Tanahashi, and when Tanahashi went back to Japan, you have Will Ospreay and Jay White calling out John Moxley on Resurgence, and they're still in town, so why not have them face Moxley? But I guess the reason they didn't have them face Moxley because AEW wants Moxley to go over a big New Japan guy, and Kojima is a two-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, so it was a letdown, but I'm fine with Moxley going over him.
Okay, so you're going with Moxley, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going with Moxley.
I think Moxley. Jimmy?
Yeah, Moxley's only lost I think one time in AEW. So to think he's not going over here is just crazy. Unless the Nick Gage theory happens, I wouldn't be mad. I think that's cool. But I'm just bored with Moxley altogether, and they need to do something with him.
Yeah, I see Moxley winning.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Clean house, first one we've had that. Next match we got Paul White, QT Marshall. For me, as I said before, I feel like it's get Paul White on the show, whether you like it or not. He is a big name in wrestling. He's a name that mainstream people will know, and it could bring guys and help AEW. And I think they've got it right by putting him on the show for this case. Could we see Brian returning this match to set up a feud with QT Marshall? Wouldn't be mad at that either. So what's your thoughts? I see you shaking your head, Chris. We'll go to you first.
Well, this is not where I want to see Bryan Danielson appear in AEW, but I don't know. I just find it hilarious how like when he was in WWE and had a big spotlight, everybody cheered, "Please retire, please retire." And it's like now he's in AEW, people are enjoying this. Like it's okay to boo at something that from something AEW is doing, but a lot of those fans aren't complaining about this. So I think it's going to be.
But do you think the fans see it the same way, that he brings eyes to the product? And for AEW fans who want to see it succeed, he was in Adam Sandler movies. Take away what he done with WWE and WCW. Adam Sandler, he had his own show on Netflix. He's, people know who he is.
I think Punk alone will get people to have an eye on here. Like people want to see what he's up to.
The thing is if you've got Punk on this show, as I said before, and you've got CM Punk, they're only after the CM Punk match, but they'll watch what's going on elsewhere. If they see Paul White, they're going to pay attention and go, oh, I didn't know he was. What's he doing nowadays? And then QT Marshall gets a bit of a name there. Same with John Moxley, and Chris Jericho. MJF gets the eyes. Punk will bring them, but these other names will keep them interested as well.
Yeah, we'll keep them, but I don't think Big Show alone, Paul White will get eyes on this thing.
No, but Paul he's not going to bring the eyes, but he's going to keep the eyes. People will recognize him and go, oh, yeah.
I mean, you have a point. I have a friend who loves like WWE but watches only pay-per-views, and she loves all the Attitude Era names, and then I show her, oh look who's on here, and then it gets her curious to watch AEW. But yeah, so yeah, it does get people eyes, but it's just like I think we could have had like a cool Orange Cassidy match here to get people to be like, oh, who's this Orange Cassidy? I want to watch every week, because we know Paul White's not going to wrestle every week on Dynamite. No. So we need those people that will wrestle every week on Dynamite.
But if you get them involved in the pay-per-view and you get them interested, then they come to a Dynamite to watch after that. So even people on this pay-per-view will still hopefully benefit from the CM Punk effect and that later down the line.
Yeah, I think that watching Dynamite CM Punk's helping that.
Yeah, what's your thoughts, saying?
Yeah, I feel like if you have Paul White on the show, as you said, like attracting viewers. Now, the thing is, you need to sustain those viewers. Let's say I'm a WWE casual and I'm watching a Paul White match. Who's the best guy to have that match against? Not QT Marshall. Someone like Orange Cassidy, as Chris said, would have been fun. Turn Paul White heel. He's done that 1,000 times in his career. It doesn't matter if he does it again. So yeah, have him face someone interesting, like someone who might bring something new to the table.
Okay, right. So let me just ask everyone of this to just give me a one-word answer on this question. If you, as you say, you bring viewers in here to watch Paul White and not against QT Marshall, if this is a quick match and you get it over the way and people have tuned in and watch Paul White fight QT Marshall, whatever the outcome, what match would you have follow it to keep the viewers interested? Out of that card.
Match. The cage match.
Just the cage match. Okay.
Yeah, the cage match. Yeah.
Cage match. Okay. Yeah. So that's where it could be good, because we know this is not going to be a long match, but if they've tuned in and then straight away at the end of that match you go, oh, now we're going to go to the cage match. Yeah. If you go, what? Cage match? Oh, and then it keeps them going. Do you know what I mean? So, as much as you might not keep Paul White matching, don't forget as well, some of these wrestlers or these people that will tune in and watch the likes of Paul White will not be wrestling fans as well. So they're not going to turn around and go, oh, these are the shits. This is not a good match. Look at the way he's bumping or whatever it may be. They're not going to know that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's the next match afterwards. That's going to be the one that they need to get right in the card. So wherever they place this, they need to place the next match after it in the correct way.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, right. So we'll vote on this one. Who do we think? Paul White or QT Marshall? I'm going to go with Paul White for the feel good, whatever. reason. But yeah, I'm going to go with Paul White. I think that's the way they're going to go. We'll go to Jimmy this time first.
I'm one of the few people who actually likes QT Marshall. I just don't see any way possible this goes any other way other than Paul White getting the victory. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, Chris?
I think I see QT winning it because we forgot Billy, the Gun Club, turned heel on him. So I feel like QT has all this help to get him that victory. And I think it's going to be like so many interferences, one after one after one. And
Okay, so next match we'll go to is Miro versus Eddie Kingston, AEW TNT Championship. I think this has got the, I can see Zayn just getting so excited there. I didn't mention of Eddie Kingston. I just feel like it's going to be a good match of, Miro's being on fire. I can see a potential title switch yet. I wouldn't want it to happen because I really think Miro's doing a cracking job with that title, and I feel he should get left with this. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, this match kind of happened out of nowhere because I just were watching Rampage and then they just announced it, and I was like, "Oh, no!" This has been really built on Rampage as of late, which is kind of cool. It's different. It's cool that like Rampage is getting this match hype. But Eddie Kingston, I think, has been on fire since being on AEW, and I've loved him since in the Indies. So anything to get him spotlighted on a
Would you give him the title?
I don't think so. I think he should have won the tag titles with Moxley at least. But I think Miro's. This has been the best work he's done. This is how he should have been presented, not the best man. And keep it up, and I think eventually, like an underdog, like a Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, could be the one to take the title off of him. So,
okay, Jimmy, your thoughts?
I am in love with what they're doing with Miro. He's one of the best things on the entire show to me right now. I have a hard time thinking he's going to lose to Kingston because Kingston doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need to win. He's over because of his promos. He helped sell this match. It'll be a good match. And like Chris was saying, I think the best way would be to just have Miro keep being presented as this monster that keeps winning and winning so that later on an underdog comes in and it really puts them over.
Zane?
Yeah, I'm just the biggest Eddie Kingston mark. And I would, and really, I don't see him winning right now. But I really have enjoyed the build so far. Like even within, like they build the match within 3 weeks, and the fact that Eddie recognized the fact that Miro has a neck injury and he's focusing on that. I really enjoy that aspect of the match as well. But there's no chance Eddie's winning this one. Miro's taking it.
Okay, so we all saying Miro?
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, and we'll move on to our next match. We're going to go with the Women's AEW Championship match. Britt Baker versus Kid Statlander. I think it's got the potential to be a really good technical match. This, I love Britt Baker. I think like she's one of the best things that in AEW that's happened very organically. But when I say organically, through herself as well, she's really pushed herself. With the old DND thing and everything else, and it goes back to me where we always say it is Steve Austin and the rest of them is that a character that's near to your real life persona is the one that gets over, and again in the case of Britt, it's really shown through. What's your thoughts on this match? Go to Jimmy first.
If Miro, I said Miro was my favorite thing. I think Britt is the most important thing in AEW right now, and that includes above the top guys. I think she is the biggest star they have, and I love everything she does. I think she demands your attention. I don't think anybody works the camera as good as she does. I feel like she's gotten better in the ring, and I think Statlander could probably give her best match outside of Thunder Rosa, and it's probably what we've all been waiting for since her title run has been a little lackluster with her matches.
Do you think that's down to her, or do you think that's down to the opponents that she's had?
The opponents, definitely opponents. Because she's not like the best in-ring worker. She's getting better. I'm not saying she's bad, but she's not the best in-ring worker. And her opponents have just been, nobody can elevate her, and she's not able to carry them. So I feel like that's been why it seems lackluster. But her promo work has helped carry it. So Statlander, I think, changes that though, and I think we get a good match out of this.
Zane?
I'm actually very excited for this match. I'm excited for this match for more than the others because I know it's going to be a really fun in-ring competition. But I feel like AEW could have done a better job putting more thought into this feud and could have brought a story towards this feud because Britt, as Jimmy said, and I totally agree with him, Britt Baker is the biggest star they have right now. And she just got organically over. She's just that relatable character that everyone loves. Even though she's a heel, I don't see anyone really giving her competition or taking that belt away from her until Thunder Rosa is built to that point or she's brought up. But yeah, I don't see her losing the belt right here. So
no.
Baker's my choice.
Baker's for you. Baker for me. Jimmy?
DMD.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think her opponent, I think Nia Jax, my bad. other end, Nyla Rose, was like not the best first opponent for her because it was two heels. But now I think Chris Allen's a perfect baby face, and I've supported her.
Could you see in this match Ruby Soho coming in and attacking it, and having your first ever like championship match without a record type thing?
That would be awesome. I could see that happening. I'm excited for this match. I think it's a great babyface opponent for Britt, and these girls are going to deliver, and I'm excited for this one.
Okay, right. So we'll move on to the tag team championships match, steel cage match, Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. Feel like this has got the potential to be a great match. You know that they're going to be flying off the top of that cage, left, right, and center. There's all going to be all sorts going on in this. I would have liked to have seen Jungle Boy and Lucha in this match, the Jungle Express. I thought like that was the way they were going to go, and I felt like Jungle Boy and Lucha were going to win the titles because, you know, they built Jungle Boy quite well, and you know, this could have been the penultimate match. I'm not excited about this match because of that. We'll go to you first, Zane. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I feel like Jurassic Express was the right choice for the match. Like they should have been the ones to challenge. But I don't mind the Lucha Bros facing Young Bucks because it's going to be like a triple Canadian destroyer off the top of the cage or something like that. And so like 3 people are going to fall on top of their heads. It's just a matter of who falls on their head first. But again, I would really enjoy the match. These are 2 really good teams. And as we saw like a couple of years ago at All Out 2019, they had an amazing match. They're going to have an amazing match. And I like the fact that they have added that extra touch of a steel cage. And like, have you guys looked at the steel cage itself? Like, it's extremely tall, and I really like the gritty feeling it has to it. But yeah, I don't. As for the prediction, I see Young Bucks retaining here.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I thought Jurassic Express was going to get this number 1 contenders match, but because they were building on it for so much, they've been attacking them every week, screwing them, like they've been building for them, and then the Lucha Bros have been dealing with Pac and Andrade's match, so they were doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden they're feuding with the Young Bucks again. So that's where I was like, but I know these guys are gonna go crazy. I'm gonna be jumping up and down. Like whatever match gives me emotions, I'm like, oh shit, I'll love, and I know this match will give me that. So, and I hope we don't get any screwy finishes, especially with the steel cage. But you know, like they got all their people coming out, the Good Brothers and Brandon Cutler. So we'll see what happens. Oh, I don't want to see too many screwy stuff. I want to see like high spot after high spot and then a clean finish. So, but I still feel like, but I don't know. Like I want to see new tag champs, and the Lucha Bros have been there forever, and I feel like they deserve at least one run. So I'll go with Lucha Bros. I'll be different.
Jimmy?
I'm going with the 3 of Jungle Express or Jurassic Express should have been the people. I think it goes back to when Jungle Boy lost to Omega. I think this would have been a great redemption, coming back from that loss and then taking out his friends, the Bucks, to win the tag titles. And I think it would be a nice pop. It'd be a good feel good moment. And like they've said, I'm not mad that it's the Lucha Brothers because it's going to be an exciting match to watch. You're going to see crazy things happen. So since it's in the steel cage, I mean, I guess it makes sense that it was the Lucha Brothers because it's going to be a more exciting match with them. But I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks. I know I'm not saying they're bad. I just personally, they just don't do it for me.
Just that you know as well that the Lucha Bros are 10-0 in AEW as a tag team, believe it or not.
Wow.
So, you know, but if they were to win
haven't
the
they lost?
championship,
Didn't they lose the Young Bucks?
No, I'm
they
looking
beat
at the
the Young
rankings,
Bucks.
yeah. I'm looking at the rankings.
Or is that for this year? Is that just for this year, though?
For this year. This is for this year.
Okay. Because they had the ladder match and the Young Bucks went over on that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's the 2021 rankings. But so if they won the titles, obviously you could turn around and say 10-0. It's not too bad of a ranking, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So we will all vote on this. Zane, Young Bucks or Luchas?
The Bucks.
Bucks. Jimmy?
I think the Bucks retain.
Hey, Chris?
I go with Lucha Bros.
I'm going to go with Luchas. I think that the Bucks need to drop the titles. They've been holding them far too long now. And I don't feel like they're getting over because of that. So yeah, I'll go with that. Okay, so next we're going to go with our AEW World Title match. I know it's the title match and it should be the main event really, but we all know what's going to be the main event, which we'll discuss next. Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, the champion for AEW World Title. Think it's going to be a great match, like the last match that they had. But the fact that they've done the match and then they're doing it again. I feel like Christian only won the Impact title to make it look like he's more credible to Omega. But you know, we could see a title change yet. For whatever way they do it, you know, I've heard rumors that Omega's being quite bad. No, he's not being wrestled. He's been wrestling with injuries and whatnot. So you know, and Christian Cage is not a bad transitional champion. So we could see it. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on this?
I'm curious. The one thing I'm curious about is if Hangman Page has had his baby yet. Because if he has, I see him returning after this match. Like you said, Christian and Kenny have fought, so he already took the loss once. He's not taking it twice. That's just not. It's not in the realm of possibility, in my opinion. And with Kenny coming out with his new look and everything now, I just don't see that there's no way possible he loses this match. It'll be okay. I'm not excited about it for the fact that, like I said, Christian's already beat him. There's just no way he's taking the second loss to him. Yeah. But I do think it's possible we see Hangman come back tonight to confront him afterwards.
And the thing is I think it takes the shine away that we've already seen this match once already. You know, and I think that makes this less special than what it should feel, really. Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the excitement factor has dropped, and I think it's gone repetitive. Like the episodes of Rampage and Dynamite have been repetitive with the promos and then the beatdowns of just having the elite stand tall every week have kind of like got me sick of it. But I hope, like Jimmy was saying, I hope seeing Hangman come back after Kenny gets the win. I feel like we're going to get a screwy finish, a lot of interferences, a lot of distracted ref, or a lot of getting knocked out. I think AEW does that a lot, having their ref distracted off simple stuff and letting a lot of things slide. And I think we're going to get a lot of that in this match. So I think Kenny wins not clean, but I hope we get someone to confront him after this match, which would be great.
And Zane, what's your thoughts on this?
Christian Cage wins, I'll get a haircut, and I really don't want to get a haircut. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega is winning this one. There's no way he's losing this one. And having Hangman Page return after this would be so amazing because I'm missing him so much. I'm really missing Hangman. So yeah, Omega for the win.
Okay, and just for you, Chris, you know, you were saying that somebody jumps out here and confronts Omega. Just to show you the rankings, so after Christian Cage, we've got Orange Cassidy. So because we see Orange Cassidy, do you believe, or do you not just think he's just there at the moment?
Well, we already kind of saw it at that.
Yeah, but we've seen it in Triple Threat. We haven't seen it one-on-one.
Yeah, we might.
That could be the storyline, you know.
A question about the rankings. Does the ranking, if you're at the top of the rankings, does that make you the number one contender for the AEW title, or does it make you the number one contender for both the titles? Like you get to choose.
What, Jimmy? Good that you should mention that, because I'm looking at this confused the way that it's got a gold Kenny Omega and a red Miro with the two titles on the side, and then it's got Christian, Orange Cassidy, and Eddie Kingston isn't even there.
Yeah.
So,
Tony Khan explained this. He said that the rankings are for the world title, and the TNT Championship is basically an open challenge.
Okay.
That's okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Also, well, don't they eventually have number one contender matches too? Like the Lucha Bros are undefeated, but they won a tournament to get that title shot. So it's still.
I was just curious because of the Orange Cassidy thing. I feel like Orange Cassidy would be a good opponent to dethrone Miro. That was my, because like Chris said, we've kind of seen the Orange Cassidy Omega thing, even though it was a triple threat. But Cassidy and Miro, I think, would be a fun program. But
you know what, it could be, and if Cassidy win the championship, with it being kind of the open challenger and Cassidy having that kind of meh attitude, you know, it's like, oh, do you want to fight me? Okay, do you know what I mean? Just
that's entertaining play well. Too.
Yeah. You know, it's not going to be hard for him to fight anyone because he's just like that anyway, which fits in with the TNT title. Okay,
just
so
having hilarious win matches. That's great.
Okay, so who are we going for in this one? We're going for. I'm going to go Omega. Zane.
Omega.
Jimmy.
I was Omega, but now that Zane said he's going to cut his hair if Christian wins, I'm going to go for Christian.
Chris.
As much as I would love to see that happen to Zane, but I think Omega's winning.
Okay. Right, so clean sweep for Omega there. All right, so we're going to go to our main event. It hasn't been announced as main event, I don't believe yet, but it's going to be main event, let's face it. CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Bit of a strange one, this one, because CM Punk's like come out and was like handpicked Darby Allin from his promos, and great for Darby Allin, gives him in the spotlight and stuff, but I don't feel like Punk's really explains why he's picked Allin as much. It's just kind of being, well, okay, it's Darby, and then they've had a bit of a face-off and whatnot. It was even like the other night on when Darby Allin come out for the save with Sting, and it was like, well, if you fight, why is this all so hunky-dory? And then there's a bit of a stare-off between them, and I know it doesn't really have to be much, but I just felt like it could have been explained more. And just one other spot, which, I don't even know why I thought of this, but it just popped into my head. I hope Aubrey Edwards does not referee this match, because we do not need Mrs. Stupid 123 stealing the spotlight in this one. What do you think, Chris?
I'm glad you're not the only one who sees that. I like something when she refs, I don't know, she's just too over the top.
Look at me.
Yeah, she has to be involved.
And it's like, I don't know, like she takes too, I don't know, I think a lot of the AEW refs, like they just distract me in how they how they deal with the match, especially in tag matches. They let everything slide in tag matches, and it really bugs me. So I kind of don't hope Aubrey does that either, because she does distract me a lot in the matches, and I think that's not a good thing for a ref to distract you. I think Charles Robinson has a great way of reacting to things, but he's still a good ref.
Yeah,
he's not over the top with it.
Yeah, you can be part of the story without trying to be the story, and I think Aubrey's always trying to be the story, which does me head in. But anyway, we've talked about enough. We're giving her too much now already.
she's doing it again, damn it.
Yeah, she's doing it over the internet now as well. So CM Punk Darby Allin, do you think that because this match is so hyped and it's kind of like, oh, he's picked Darby Allin first, and oh, that's a good one, and Darby Allin can work well, and Punk's good. Do you feel like this match plateaus because of that? Do you think it doesn't live up to the expectation?
I don't know. As Punk said in an interview, if you think my last year in WWE was good, that's when I didn't care, which I agree with him. Like, he put on great matches with Brock, Undertaker, Cena that year, but then towards the end, after that Brock match, you could tell he didn't care. So I could
tell, but it's been so long since he's been in the ring, so
yeah. And then like,
what
if he doesn't hold up? It's been 7 years. Like, it's not like he was in his 20s and it's 7 years after that. But
and then again, also, you know, do their styles mesh well? And you know what I mean? What are we doing here? And
then CM Punk, I don't think was the cleanest wrestler too. He was a little sloppy in his work. So I'm curious. I'm excited to see that man in the ring again. Like, I was a huge
just when you see, you know, about being sloppy and saying CM Punk's was always a little bit sloppy on time to time. Do you think, Jimmy, that's why they've given Darby Allin? Because if he needs Darby Allin in the end or something, then Darby Allin's not really bothered.
I think Darby is good because of his size. I honestly get Punk in there and get used to things. Give him the smallest guy you can possibly do. That way, you know, because we saw when he did the GTS to one of the members of 2.0, he almost overthrew him and dropped him on his head, and he had to readjust himself. I think the problem I have with this match is what made Punk so fantastic was his promo work. And whereas I've enjoyed his promos since he's come back, the promos have been about coming back. There's been nothing really about the match. They're not selling this match to me. It's like, hey, we got Punk and he's facing Allin. Y'all need to be excited about it. They didn't give me a reason to be excited about it other than, oh, Punk's back. So I don't like Allin being the first one. I think they could have had an interesting program with the straight edge thing. You know, both of them live that lifestyle. They both have a different kind of style to them, though. I think it could have been an interesting program. And just to throw this one in as the first one, I think was just a little weird. Okay. But the size thing, I think, might have something to do with it.
Yeah, and then also, you know, as we've said, we've got, you know, Punk. Everyone sees him winning this match. They don't see it going any other way. See it being a decent match. Is there any way that Allin can win this match, Shane?
Like, there is this aspect of CM Punk coming back to port over talent, but I think Allin sharing the ring, Allin being the first one to face CM Punk, would be enough to get him over. Like, he gets over in the match, CM Punk goes over in the match. But like as Jimmy said, the thing, this match wasn't being promoted as CM Punk versus Darby Allin. This match was promoted as CM Punk's first match in 7 years. I think it should have been more about, like, all right, you have the first 2 weeks CM Punk talks about coming back. Then a lot the rest of the time to building the match between CM Punk and Darby Allin. We don't have that much like animosity between them. And then they included 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, who I love, but I don't see the point in them involving. It was more of like CM Punk and Darby Allin are a tag team and they're facing Red Death and 2.0. But at this point, they should have done more for the build to CM Punk versus Darby Allin. But I understand, then again, it's CM Punk's first match in 7 years, so that's as big of a promotion in and of itself. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't see Darby Allin winning.
Brilliant. All right, so let's vote on this one then, Jimmy.
I think CM Punk goes over, but yeah, I think it would be very interesting if Allin goes over, and because I think the colossal heat that would come down upon him in Chicago if he won could give him a great turn, and Darby with Sting it, I don't think it's possible, but I think it could be interesting if that happens. But yeah, I think Punk wins.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Darby wins the heat he gets, but I don't know if Punk losing his first match back would,
especially in Chicago,
especially in his hometown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see Punk winning, but again, it's like they've brought in 2.0 and Danny Garcia. Like, could there still be interferences in this match? This is what I'm worried
Yeah.
about. A majority of these matches, they've hyped with groups of people around the singles matches, which has me worried. Like a lot of these matches have potential of having a boatload of interferences.
All right, so are you going Zayn or Alan? Sorry, Punk or Alan?
I'll go Punk.
Zayn?
Yeah, Chicago's
or
going to
Alan?
burn down if Punk doesn't win. CM Punk.
All right,
Think
well,
how cool
that's
that would be though for Alan if that happened.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That would just catapult him so high.
Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker at Mania 33.
All right, guys. Well, that's our predictions done then. Well, either way, it's going to be a great show, I believe. Hopefully, we're going to get some twists and turns along the way, which makes it that extra special. Some really good matches on the card, and we'll see all that. So, anyway, Jimmy, Chris, Zayn, thanks so much. Do you want to say anything to anybody before you go? We'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at DrewCritch. I don't take wrestling too serious, so I like to make fun of it a lot. And yeah, follow me. Check out my articles on WRESTLEBUDDY.com and like my tweets and retweet me. Thank you.
Jimmy.
I'll go on record right now as saying I don't believe Daniel Bryan shows up tonight. I think it's gonna be funny when he doesn't. But back to me. You can find me Jimmy Bebe on Twitter. I try to be as positive as possible on there, so go ahead and follow me. And I'm also on WrestleBuddy, so check me out, and I'll talk all day with you about wrestling. So,
Cool. Well, I think Daniel Bryan probably doesn't show up, but I do feel Adam Cole will. And on that, we'll go to Zayn.
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, I don't have any comments on that. You can find me at ZaynPW on Twitter. I'm known for my really shitty takes on wrestling, so if you're a fan of that, you can follow me on Twitter. And yeah, I do stuff for every site possible. I'm Sportskid at TWM. Sports Obsessive, hopefully Sports Obsessive right now. So yeah, give me a follow, please. I'm at 68
Brilliant.
followers. One more follow.
And I'm going to finish off with Adam Cole's biggest fan. Let him have his thoughts. Did we see Adam Cole tonight, Jimmy?
no.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Definitive no.
All right. Well, thanks anyway, guys. Wrestle Buddies, thank you so much for joining us as always. We'll be back with another show. Hopefully, everybody enjoys the AEW pay-per-view and enjoy the wrestling that's going to be on show. And we will see you all again for our next show. We've got Quiz Buddies coming up. We've got a few interviews through the week, so keep checking back on the channel. There's loads of content that's coming forward. And please keep reading the articles on WrestleBuddy.com. Some great articles there from loads of different writers, and we've got a lot of different variety of people writing. So, there's something there for everybody, so check it out. Thanks, and this is the part where we always wave, guys, isn't it? So, bye.